Two queens, two dragons of destiny, one crowned in the pages of fire and blood, the other forged in a song of ice and fire. But who was truly the better queen? Rhaenyra Targaryen or Daenerys Stormborn? Before we dive in, pause for a second and tell me in the comments, if you had to choose, which queen would it be? Queen Rhaenyra of Dragonstone, rightful heir in the Dance of the Dragons, or Queen Daenerys, the breaker of chains, mother of dragons, and claimant to the Iron Throne? I want to see the comment section erupt in debate, because the answer is not as simple as it seems. Rhaenyra Targaryen, daughter of Viserys, was once called the Realm's Delight. Born with the classic Valyrian beauty, silver hair, violet eyes, and the blood of old Valyria flowing hot in her veins, she was named an heir to the Iron Throne. That alone was unprecedented. The Targaryens had ruled Westeros for nearly a century, but never before had a woman been named to succeed. Viserys broke with tradition and swore the lords of the realm to honor Rhaenyra as his heir. From a young age, she was groomed to rule. She sat beside her father at councils. She learned statecraft, the intricacies of succession, and the politics of the Seven Kingdoms. Rhaenyra was not a spare or a pawn. She was, by royal decree, the next dragon to wear the crown. Her strength lay in legitimacy. When her father died, she was the rightful heir. Yet legitimacy is fragile when ambition burns in others. Queen Alicent Hightower, Rhaenyra's stepmother, conspired with her family to crown her own son Aegon II. Thus began the bloody civil war remembered as the Dance of the Dragons. As queen, Rhaenyra showed iron will. She was fierce, proud, and utterly convinced of her right. She gathered loyal lords and dragon riders, rallying her banners under the black sigil of House Targaryen. Her supporters called themselves the Blacks. She fought with cunning, leveraging her dragons, her alliances, and her bloodline claim. For much of the war, she held the upper hand. At one point, she even sat upon the Iron Throne itself, crowned and ruling in King's Landing. But Rhaenyra's reign was shadowed by the savagery of the dance. Brother fought sister, dragon devoured dragon, and thousands perished. She ruled not in peace, but in blood. The people of King's Landing turned against her when famine and fear gripped the city. She was remembered as imperious, sometimes cruel, and unwilling to bend, even when mercy might have saved her cause. Her end was tragic, betrayed, abandoned, and devoured by her half-brother's dragon, Sunfire. Yet her legacy endured. Her son, Aegon III, became king, fulfilling her bloodline claim. So was Rhaenyra a failure? Or was she a queen ahead of her time, crushed by the world's unwillingness to let a woman sit the Iron Throne? Some maesters argue her downfall was not her own fault, but the treachery of others. Had her father's will been honored, Westeros might have seen its first ruling queen without civil war. Now let us turn to Daenerys Stormborn. Her life could not have been more different. While Rhaenyra was raised as a princess in the Red Keep, Daenerys began her story in exile. Born during a storm on Dragonstone, she fled Westeros as a babe when Robert's rebellion shattered House Targaryen. She grew up with nothing but her name and her brother's abuse. No throne, no court, no crown, only the faint echo of what was lost. And yet, from these ashes, Daenerys rose. Gifted as a pawn in her brother's schemes, sold to Khal Drogo, she transformed her fate. When her husband died, she stepped into fire with dragon eggs and emerged unburnt with Drogon, Rhaegal, and Viserion at her side. Dragons had not flown for over a century, yet Daenerys restored them to the world. That alone placed her among the most extraordinary figures in Westerosi history. As a queen, Daenerys ruled in Essos before she ever set foot in Westeros. In Astapor, she broke the Unsullied free from their chains, which was arguably the best scene in the entire HBO series. I'm not afraid to say she was utterly badass as she utters those old Valyrian words. In Yunkai, she brought freedom to the enslaved. In Meereen, she attempted something no Targaryen before her had dared, to rule not as a conqueror, but as a reformer. She abolished slavery, established councils, and sought justice for those who had never known it. Unlike Rhaenyra, Daenerys claimed her crown not by birthright alone, but by vision. She called herself the breaker of chains for a reason. She was not only heir to her house, but a queen for the downtrodden. Yet Daenerys, like Rhaenyra, was shaped by fire and blood. Her justice was fierce, often merciless. She crucified masters, burned her enemies, and trusted too deeply in the idea that fear could hold a realm together. In the show's ending, though still debated by fans, her fury consumed her. Riding Drogon above King's Landing, she unleashed dragonfire on the innocent. Where Rhaenyra was remembered as imperious and tragic, Daenerys is remembered as both liberator and destroyer. To her followers, she was Misa, mother and savior. To her enemies, she was fire made flesh. So who was the better queen? Let's weigh their legacies side by side. Legitimacy. Rhaenyra was the rightful heir of Westeros, chosen by a king and sworn to by lords. Daenerys had no official claim recognized at the time, only her bloodline and her own might. In terms of legality, Rhaenyra wins. Vision. Rhaenyra fought to preserve tradition, her bloodline, her throne. Daenerys fought to reshape the world. She envisioned not just ruling, but ending slavery, toppling tyranny, and building a new order. Here, Daenerys stands taller. Dragons. Both queens had dragons, but Daenerys achieved the impossible, bringing them back from extinction. Rhaenyra commanded Syrax and access to the greatest dragon stable in history, but she did not revive the species. Daenerys, however, made the impossible possible. Edge. Daenerys. Reign. Rhaenyra actually sat the Iron Throne, if only briefly, and ruled King's Landing as queen. Daenerys never truly reigned in Westeros. Her story ended before she could sit the throne. In that sense, Rhaenyra has the stronger Westerosi claim. Endings. Both died tragically, consumed by betrayal and fire, yet both left legacies. Rhaenyra's line endured through Aegon III. Daenerys' dragons changed the world forever, even after her death. The question of better queen is not just about who won or lost. It's about what kind of ruler Westeros needed. Rhaenyra represents legitimacy and inheritance. Daenerys represents revolution and change. One fought to preserve a crown, the other fought to reshape the world. Both were tragic, both were flawed, and both burned brightly before being consumed by the very fire they wielded. So, who was the better queen? Rhaenyra or Daenerys? The rightful heir who fought for her crown, or the mother of dragons who dreamed of breaking the wheel? I've laid out their stories, their strengths, and their flaws. Now it's your turn. Drop your answer in the comments. Don't just say a name. Tell me why. I'll be watching to see which side the realm chooses. And if you enjoyed this dive into the Queens of Fire and Blood, make sure to like and subscribe. It's free, and it helps keep these stories alive.